Drag Race Philippines is back, and so all eyes of the Drag Race fandom are on the Philippine Islands and its very beautiful queens. I'm one of them. Charot. But of course, because the show remains to be truly and wonderfully and beautifully Filipino, there are some moments or some references that most of the world just probably won't get. But that's not gonna be a problem because girls, I got you. Here at SISNE Pop, we promise to bring Filipino pop culture to the world. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. In this series, we're gonna try our very best to explain to you the references, the pop culture elements, everything said in Drag Race Philippines so that you from all over the world will understand, or at the very least, get some context. Yes! This is Dragsplaining Philippines! All right, before I move on, I know this is obvious, but there are going to be spoilers. So if you haven't caught the episode, go ahead and watch the episode now. Let's start off strong and talk about the mystery, the surprise queen number 12. And the gag was, it was the Philippines' original camp princess, Jolina Magdalene. So for the rest of the world, she's actually also known in the queer community as Jolina Slay-dangal because she really is considered as the queen and the icon of Filipino pop culture. Now, Jolina has actually been in the Philippine entertainment industry since her childhood, but her heydays were like the late 90s to early 2000s. She starred in primetime TV shows, she starred in blockbuster movies. I mean, suffice to say, she's a very well-known actress, singer, and TV host in the Philippines. Now, during her prime, she was known for, and I say this with a lot of love, her gaudy aesthetics, lots of color, lots of extravagance, you know, rainbow hair clips, butterfly pins, and everything. She made those a thing. And she actually divided the entire country because some people really appreciated it and some people just kind of disliked it. They found it to be a little out of fashion. But that didn't stop her. Especially during her early music career, I think she'd even doubled down on it. It was like she was putting out songs that were very fun, almost novelty, and people just ate it up. And it was really just a different time for the Philippines. So in the show, they actually mentioned that Jolina is the original Jologs queen. And what does that mean? Well, Jologs came to mean people who were like not very fashionable, who were like fashion victims. But the etymology of Jologs is actually Jolina Organization. Because again, there were people who didn't appreciate the aesthetic, so they wanted to come up with this term to be derogatory. But joke's on you. People dressed like that and people appreciated Jolina because it was so fun. And honestly, over time, the Jologs people kind of reclaimed the word. Today, especially in queer communities, it's more of an endearing thing to kind of be self-deprecating, but also be proud about the fact that you don't care what society thinks. Now, I don't know, but that sounds very drag to me. That's why I think it was such a genius choice to have her on the very first episode of Drag Race Philippines Season 3. One of my favorite moments in this episode was how genuinely gagged the queens were to see her walk into the workroom. But they gagged her right back. Speaking of what the queens did to Jolina, where they kind of lifted her up, that's called Alarma. It's become kind of a thing amongst drag queens. I think I see it a lot backstage in like videos from O-Bar drag queens, a very popular drag bar in the Philippines. And it's just basically taking someone and throwing them up in the air. It's kind of dangerous, but it looks really, really fun though. It looks really fun and fierce. I don't know why they call it Alarma though. So if anybody knows, let us know in the comments. Be our resource person. Because yeah, Alarma means alarm or like being alarmed. I don't know. Why is it Alarma? Toot! Ayan. Color bars. Toot! Ganito po ang live editing. All the drag names of the drag queens this season, I think are fierce. But there's one that really, really stood out to me because it's such a great example of Filipino culture. I'm obsessed with Tita Baby. Okay, what does tita baby even mean? So tita in the Philippines generally means like an aunt or any mature female friend of the family. And there's kind of a tita culture in the Philippines where titas are like a little bit honest, acerbic. So when you see them in like gatherings, they're like, you gained weight. You still single? What is wrong with you? When are you gonna have a baby? And that's exactly who tita baby is. Now, baby is a very common nickname in the Philippines. And that's why I don't know any Filipino out there who does not know a tita baby. I know probably like 3. Just so you know, every time you see tita baby, that's her thing. That is her brand. And you cannot be any more Filipino than that. Also, honorable mention, Yudipota. Just look it up, y'all. I don't want to get banned. Oh, and let's also talk about Popster Bench. Gorgeous, gorgeous girl. But they mentioned in the episode that she popularized Tala. Now you're gonna ask, what is Tala? Okay, I'm gonna talk about a different Tala, okay? Because this is not the Tala place that Zymba Ding was talking about. This is totally different. Tala is a song by Filipino pop princess Sarah Geronimo. Tala actually means star. And because that song was so popular, it's so good, and because Popster Bench is such a big fan of Sarah Geronimo, I mean, impersonating Sarah G is just part of her brand, she made the Tala dance a thing. So Popster Bench kept performing it in O-Bar, so it became a thing in the queer community. And then somehow the mainstream audience got a hold of it and it became this viral craze on social media. It's actually super interesting that the first episode is called Viral Queens because a lot of the queens this season are actually viral queens. You have Popster Bench for Tala. You have Maxie, who made waves in Filipino entertainment because of that stint in a Filipino game show. You have Fedellaga, the Omega Queen. So in this episode, we kind of saw some rare. There was shade thrown from the end of Khianna, and there was shade thrown from the end of Versex, and kind of J. Quinn. And this is something very familiar to me as a Probinsyana girly myself. So in Filipino culture, there is sometimes a dissension between city, Manila people, and people from the provinces. And there's just this long history of like Manila people looking down on people from the provinces because they think we're savages. They think we can't do shit. They think we're ignorant.
You're a savage.
I mean, I am a savage in bed. No, but there is that underlying thing. Yeah, so there is this long-standing history of like Manila people, Metro Manila people, kind of looking down and treating province people differently. I, for one, have been a recipient of that experience, but this isn't about me. People did bring that up on social media. A lot of people were saying that, yes, like there really sometimes are microaggressions, but I don't know. We don't really know the full story. I don't know where that rare aggression came from, but it makes for good TV. I also want to talk about the challenge because I've been waiting for Drag Race Philippines to do like a social media-ish challenge because the truth is the Philippines is a really huge social media country. Like as of January 2024, there have been like 49 million Filipino users on TikTok. That's like half the population. 49 million people in the Philippines are on TikTok. That's just TikTok. I feel like Facebook is probably close to 100%. Speaking of TikTok, follow us on TikTok at SISNE POP. If you don't follow us, then you're a bitch just like me. Okay, let's get into the runways. This episode's runway category is like hometown queens, getting to know you through your hometown. Love the idea because the Philippines, from region to region, city to city, we have a lot of different flavors, right? So it did feel like a lost opportunity a little bit because most of the queens are just from Metro Manila. And so we really didn't get to see a lot of diversity. Having said that, the runways tonight were amazing. Now, I'm not gonna go through them one by one, but I will explain some of the ones that I think really need to be understood by the rest of the world. So Popster Bench came out in these like horsey, horse racing kind of runway look. I think the look was fierce. Execution was great, but that was, as she explained, a reference to the Santa Ana Racing Club because there used to be horse racing in that part of Manila City. It has since been shut down. It doesn't exist anymore, but that was an integral part of Philippine history. I think it was really popular during like the 70s. when horse racing was still a thing. So that was actually a cute concept. Good job, Popster Bench. I also kind of appreciated the look of John Fedellaga, and what she said was that it was a reference to a fiesta in Cavite, and I'm not sure if she mentioned what it is, but it does look like the Saint Mary Magdalene fiesta. I'm not from Cavite, so I'm not sure, but yes, they do have that celebration in Cavite for Mary. My favorite look of this episode was Maxie's Jose Rizal inspired outfit. Now, of course, it's a reference to her hometown. She's from Manila City. She referenced Luneta Park. That park was the site of Jose Rizal's, our national hero, the site of his execution back in 1896. What had made it even better for me was the iconic image was like Jose Rizal turns his back, and when Maxie turned her back, the last lines of the Philippine national anthem was there. Ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. Literally, that means to die for you or to die because of you, meaning to die for your country. And that's exactly what Jose Rizal did. And so I thought that that was such a genius take, and I'm just obsessed. I'm obsessed with that runway. Maxie turning her back on the judges was actually really, really witty because there is this legend, because I don't know if it's fact, but there were stories that during his execution, he was gonna be shot by firing squad and he was facing away. But right when they started shooting, he actually faced them because he was like, yes, I'm gonna die like this. Truly a hero. Yudipota's runway was an obvious reference to Maskara Festival. Now, Yudipota is from Bacolod, correct? So yes, Maskara Festival is a really, really big thing there. It's one of the more colorful festivals. So Khaled Karen was actually super right when she said that it's very interesting to choose white as your color to represent that festival. I think it was really smart and really fashion. Khianna's golden fish look was also really fierce. And I think she was basing it on the folk story in Cagayan de Oro about the oro fish. Oro meaning gold. And I think this story, and I'm not an expert in Philippine folklore, but I think the story was that there was this giant fish who ate a priest in Cagayan de Oro, in the Cagayan de Oro River. Again, if you guys have any more information about this legend in Cagayan de Oro, let us know because I think that's really interesting. Two queens this episode kind of reference the same thing. Maxie-Challenge was like the Marikit inspired Brazilians runway look, and then Tita Baby was like flood water. That is because they both hail from Marikina City, one of the most flood prone areas in the entire Philippines. Marikina just went through that recently with Typhoon Karina, and I hope everyone is starting to recover, but it was a really, really bad flood, and that's what they were representing. One thing did stand out to me, I love when Tita Baby said that resilience is really part of Filipino culture, but let's not abuse it. And she said like we have to like protect Mother Nature, but like in general, just because we are resilient as a people doesn't mean that we're gonna accept suffering all the time, because we need to change. I think this episode's most heartfelt runway presentation was Zymba Ding. And yeah, she talked about her parents both being leprosy patients, and so they got treatment in the Tala Leprosarium, which is I think now has a different name. Today it's called the Jose and Rodriguez Memorial Hospital in Caloocan. It's just a great story because there's also another kind of like leprosy colony in the Philippines before in Palawan. I think it was Tulyon. So it's just part of the Philippine historical fabric, Hansen's disease or leprosy. And I'm glad that it's a conversation that she started because I do think that that is something that's been drowned out in the media. And I'm glad that we're revisiting this topic on leprosy in the Philippines. Now let's get to my thoughts for the entire episode. I love that they brought some of the alumni queens back. And Venus Deluxe, the queen that you are. You came into the workroom in your season in a towel, and now you show up in a t-shirt, yet it works. It is so funny. Venus Deluxe, you never cease to amaze us. Also, I was surprised that there was kind of outside of the season drama because Versex and Minty Fresh don't seem to be in good terms. Also, can I just say, Mama Pao looks divine. This episode, last season, it was a little rickety, but this season, for the very first runway, I love what Mama Pao brought to the runway, and she made it herself, apparently. The makeup was right, the wig was right, the outfit was right, everything was working this episode. So Mama Pao, Shante, you stay. Charot lang. Now, the drama this season was like pedal to the metal right out the gate, which is great TV. And again, I talked about it earlier about, you know, Khianna and Versex kind of having a little tiff. But yeah, there's so much personality this season already. I mean, yeah, this is Drag Race, but I think that we went 0 to 60 in just one episode. So that's really, really exciting. I also love the challenge. Now, in my mind, my top two was Tita Baby and Maxie. I just thought they were funny, and also was really, really a great showcase of their brand. I'm not gonna say I'm surprised that Zymba Ding and Khianna were on top. I think their videos were also really, really amazing. But that lip sync though, I mean, first lip sync of the season, and it was at that caliber. I cannot wait how this turns out. Drag Race Philippines, that was a really great start to season 3. So I'm looking forward to the next episodes. What kind of flavors, what kind of drama, what kind of amazing things are we gonna see over the next few weeks? Anyway, I really loved doing this video, drag-splaining for all of you about the Filipino references in this week's Drag Race Philippines episode. If you want more of that, of course, let us know, show us some love in the comments, and if you're not yet, please subscribe to SISNE POP, because we're planning to do this as a series. Every time there's a new Drag Race Philippines episode, we're gonna try our best to explain everything to you so you get a little more extra context and you can feel your honorary Filipino oats, okay? So, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Dragsplaining Philippines!